Swipe Up, episode 232, the podcast where I share my unfiltered thoughts on the latest news and entertainment updates. I'm your host, Ray Taylor, and every Thursday I'll be bringing you a fresh perspective on a variety of topics. 30% raise. The LAUSD workers reach deal after massive strike. The rise of unions, especially when it comes to companies like Amazon, when it comes to teachers, and you want to talk about the power of unions, just look at the police unions, which is one of the strongest unions in this country. And they're so good, they've made it so people who are part of that union could literally get away with murder because they've negotiated to have qualified immunity so police officers don't get charged. Like, it's so rare that a police officer ever faces any kind of punishment for murder. It has to be like global protests. And usually they just get fired and end up working at another police department, right? So that is an example of how a union can change things for the better as far as workers. And maybe when it comes to killing people, I think there should be a line there when it comes to letting people get away with murder. But when it comes to teachers who are like, it is insane that teachers get paid as little as they do. So to see this be successful is amazing. And this is only tentative. A tentative agreement has been reached between the Los Angeles Unified School District and Local 99 of the Service Employees International Union, representing 30,000 employees, including bus drivers, teacher aides, special education assistants, custodians, and food service workers. The agreement, which comes after mediation with Mayor Karen Bass, provides raises of about 30% or more for the lowest wage workers over time. So it's going to take time, and affected by the length of service and current salary, obviously. So they're like, here's the max. Here's how long it'll take you to get to that max, right? But still good. Some workers will receive less than 30% and some more. The agreement is not on across-the-board increase, but a spread out over time, right? And, they could always change that later. I remember when I used to work at Costco, worked there for 13 years, and when I first got hired there, like, there's a pay scale. Like, you work here for this amount of time, you clock this amount of hours, you get a raise, and then at some point you get topped out and you get bonuses. And what that structure was like when I first started working at Costco in 2002, to when I left at 2015, the new employees that were hired at Costco would have to work there like 10 times longer to get topped out versus when I was hired. I got topped out pretty quick. So that means a lot. And that's Costco. That's a company that it's held in high esteem. Which I think is a fraudulent pedestal to put that company on, but it is what it is. It's just sad that there's so many companies that are far worse to people, but Costco is a company that is against starting unions, for sure. Even though some are, but that's just their legacy union buildings. Not all Costco buildings are unionized. And we tried to unionize it at the building I was at, and it was heavily discouraged. And I think everybody that had at one point discussed or tried to do that no longer works there. So take that how you want. But that kind of time span of how long it takes them to get this raise, I'm sure at some point will be renegotiated and extended, and it will be harder, right? But they have that time to play where they can make it worse. But at least it's a start, right? The deal is not yet official and must be approved by the union members. The strike led by Local 99 began on Tuesday and ended on Thursday. It approved the agreement and could prevent campuses from, if approved, the agreement could prevent campuses from being closed again for almost 500,000 students and spare workers from difficult job actions, obviously doing more than they should. The United Teachers Los Angeles which represents about 35,000 teachers, counselors, therapists, nurses, and librarians, remain in negotiation over its contract. So they haven't gotten it. Actual teachers, all the peripheral support have gotten it, but not the teachers. The agreement was reached after several union strikes that reflect assertive union activism across the country, largely over widening financial inequities. Obviously, like the federal minimum wage is like $7.25, and it costs like at minimum $2,000 to rent an apartment. It's like it's insane. Like you have to work 20 jobs to afford to live. It's just stupid. And there's people that will fight for that. There are poor people that will fight for that. It's like, oh, you just need to work harder. Stop being lazy. So stupid. Meanwhile, like in the 50s, a full family could purchase a house and live on a single income. Like now a family can't afford a house and would require 5 incomes to afford a shitty apartment. But you're too lazy. The deal also reflects a broader context of the problems affecting working class families. Unions are important, man. Like there's only one way to negotiate with big businesses, and trusting a business or a corporation that they will have your best interests at hand is the most ridiculous, brainwashed garbage I've ever heard of. There's no proof that capitalism will benefit the workers. There is no proof. The only reason there isn't slavery currently is because of government regulation. So if everything was deregulated, one company would own everything and slaves would be forced to work there. It's absolutely absurd. So unions, more than ever, very important. Not only against businesses, but against the government, against this society, against these rich people, this small percentage of rich people who acquired and hold the majority of wealth that exists. These money hoarders that make money worthless and hoard all of it, acting like they're somehow bestowed by God, anointed by God to be the ones to have all of the money, thus have all of the power. It's ridiculous.
New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on YouTube and everywhere our podcasts are found. Binge the full week over at inspireddisorder.com/plus. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!
Today is the day where you wake up and you realize that everything that you've been dreaming about, everything that you've been wanting, every goal and wish and hope that you've ever had can become real. Dreams can come true. What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.